Well, here we are, third and final video. All right, my name is Metro, if you don't know already. I'm making a video series on basically the differences between the WoW pet battle system and Pokemon in general. I play a lot of both, so I figured it was a good option. If you want to see the other two videos, there's going to be links to annotations with links on the screen and in the description to the previous videos. The first one was a comparison of combat mechanics, vast differences there, and the second one was a comparison of basically the PvE and PvP scopes in both metagames. So now we're going to do the final one, which is my pro and con of both games and my opinions on the topic. All right. Frankly, there's a lot different, and both games have a great, strength and weakness pool. So no reason not to elaborate on that for you guys. Try to get through this. This might be pretty long. So if it is too long and you need to move at a faster pace than the video is going, in the description is a I don't know what you call it, like a transcript. That's what I've been calling it, with timestamps to each subtopic within the greater topics of the pros and cons, right? So, for example, here this is going to be the pros and cons of Pokemon and pros and cons of WoW, etc. So, if you want to just watch one or the other, you can check that out in the description. All right, so let's move on to actual content here, okay? Shall we? Oh, yeah. So anyway. We're going to assume, first of all, that you guys know a little bit about both. Hopefully you've already watched the other videos, you understand that. But yeah, here we go. So we're going to do the WoW Pet Battle Pros first, all right? I feel like this is, a good place to start. The pet battles in WoW actually are great because they help you explore the already massive and amazing world. This is probably the best part about this. It really gets you out there doing like raids and like, trying to catch Pokemon, and I'm going to say that always, but try to catch pets in the world and stuff like that. It really makes the game feel even bigger than it already is. It's easily the most fun, casual source of achievement points. Like pretty much every source of achievement points is like raiding, PvP, like intense leveling, or I don't know, all this like collection stuff like that, toys, stuff like that. But this is easily done alone and at your own pace. It's extremely casual, which isn't always a bad thing. I hear a lot of people say casual content, whatever, but it's a good thing in this case, right? It's actually much more challenging to be successful at than Pokemon. If you ask me, especially the vanilla Pokemon games, I could beat them in like 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like it's just so insanely easy. But getting a lot of Pokemon is probably difficult. But in WoW, there's just so much more like renewable content. This is mostly because of the combat differences, which I explained in the first video, and also the daily relevances. Like you beat everything in the game, quote unquote, like the trainers and stuff like that, and then you keep beating them because you need them to help you collect more. So they're similar, but I feel like this one's a higher investment. And because of this, there's amazing cooperation between other systems. So like if you want to collect every pet in the game, you're gonna have to do raiding, you're gonna have to exploration, different types of achievements. Trying to think, you're gonna have killed bosses because one of the pets, the guild needs to have killed so many bosses so you can buy it, stuff like that. Like it's just how it is, you know what I mean? It's intense cooperation between a massive game, and this is great. This is definitely probably my second favorite feature. And this is, an unsung hero of this concept. Basically the only content in the game that doesn't happen in real time. I mean, it's an MMORPG, right? But if I click a pet battle, not a PvP pet battle, a PvE pet battle, I could just sit there all day. Like, there's no time limit. You know what I mean? I could literally just like in Pokemon, just kind of just leave it and come back to it 5 hours later, and I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be in that pet battle. I've never left it that long, but there doesn't appear to be any type of time or a frame like that. So if you're somebody who really likes or really doesn't like the kind of like persistent world and like other people interfering, once you enter a PvE pet battle, it's all you, man. You know what I mean? So that's it for the pros. Pretty well distinguished. These are reasons I like WoW pet battles. Hopefully you guys would agree. Now there's the cons, all right? There's a decent amount of cons as well. These are reasons I don't like WoW pet battles, right? And hopefully when you hear both of these, now you'll understand kind of why one is, interesting, why the other one is etc. Maybe, you like Pokemon, you like this, whatever. These are the reasons, okay? Number one, there is an insane volume of pets to be collected, like literally not possible to collect them all, and because of that, it makes a lot of trainers really difficult to do at a high level. All right, so like I said, there's a lot of carrying and leveling and stuff that needs to be done, and you'll like kind of, you know, go net team it up, and it sees, you know, these two pets are crazy against this guy, and I look and I don't have them, you know what I mean? So it's pretty difficult. Whereas in Pokemon, like any fire type is going to be strong against any metal type. You know what I mean? Like there's not steel, whatever. Like there's no, it's not like, oh my God, I really need Magmortar. Otherwise I just can't beat this gym. It's just, that's a big con in my opinion. There's also an incredible amount of hard counter teams. And you know, the game does foster preparation, but most of it just ends up in like looking it up online, which I've been calling net teaming, you know what I mean? Come from net decking from Hearthstone. Basically, if you can't figure it out, you just look it up and somebody's already figured it out for you. Whereas in Pokemon, there's no need for that because you kind of just, you know what I mean? Like you just use a fire type to beat a steel type, or, you know, water against rock, etc., ground, whatever. But like in this game, it's very, very, very difficult to, like, if I just went into a trainer with no knowledge, I would not, there's no chance. No, I cannot beat, like, the Gorgon daily guy. There's no way I can go fight her and win without preparation. It's just not possible. Like, it's just not. It's literally not. So, yeah, that's a con, in my opinion. It's also a pro because it's more skill and, like, preparation based, but the fact that there's just, like, a team out there that could, like, pretty much beat all three of her pets by itself, it's just, I don't know, that's not, I don't like that. I don't like that. But anyway, the quality model itself I feel is really weak. Like I'm talking about like the rare pets compared to like the gray, you know, the trash pets. I don't even know what they call gray, but it's trash, usually vendor stuff. Yeah, especially when PvE trainers use epic and legendary quality pets, it really makes it feel unfinished. Like if there was just a way that I can get these pets to legendary, I would do it. I would love to do that. You know what I mean? It would be, they would be better than the rare pet that I had, so it would be worth it. You know what I mean? I think it needs another level of progression. Like once the pet is max level, then it could now become legendary or rare. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's a big con if you ask me. And because of that, the leveling system becomes really unfun after a while. Like I just said, there's really no reason to even use the pet once it's max level. Like everything in the game is beaten with a hard counter anyway, so once you have the pet max level, it's basically just shelved. It's kind of just for the achievements, which is fine, I guess, but this just fosters intense net teaming. You pretty much produce a team that can be an entire objective with, you know, like 1 to 2. It even says Pokemon there, you know what I mean? I can't stop saying that, sorry. 1 to 2 pets. You literally, there's people out there who manage to beat all 3 of a really difficult trainer's pets with 1 pet. It's just silly. So I don't know. And then meanwhile, you know, you got similar pets and they don't even stand a chance. You can't beat them whatsoever. So that's a big con, and that's all resultant of the 3 per team thing. It just feels stupid if you ask me. I feel like 5 or 6, as in Pokemon, would be you know, basically less difficult killing 1 pet and more interesting in the long run. Maybe longer because of that, but I don't know, it's just dumb. Like it means that you need to have a set team before you even fight the person that you're about to fight, because there's no, like, it's like, oh no, a bad matchup out of the gate, I can just switch to one that is a good matchup, but you only have 3, so it's unlikely that you have a good matchup and all that. It's just, those are major cons, you know what I mean? And honestly, if it weren't for the achievement point system, this would just be a waste of time. Like, there's so much in WoW. It's just, there's just no time for this. It's not fun on its own, honestly. And the achievement point really drive it. Like, that's actually part of really why I love it. But if there wasn't achievements, like, the PvE part of it, it's just useless. It's just, it's garbage. Like, without the achievements, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the cons. Hopefully you understand more about the game. Now we're going to talk about Pokemon, all right? The pros, from the way I see it, is the story-driven PvP, or PvE, is just insanely superior to how WoW does it. It's like the reason I love the game, because it's like it feels like really fun to progress, you know what I mean? Makes it feel like you're actually accomplishing something. Unique flavor and sprite for every single Pokemon is actually a big thing. In WoW, you pretty much only, there's like 50 rabbits, you know, they all have the same model, quote unquote. In Pokemon it's called a sprite because it's 2-dimensional, but the fact that literally all 600 and some, you know, 700 Pokemon are completely different from every other one is crazy. I love that. There's never a duplicate, you know what I mean? The deep typing trees, these things like stab, dual typing, you know, having that like Scrafty who's, you know, dark fighting. These are great. These are great. This is why the game is so successful, honestly. Like, it's so much fun and it's intense. Like, you got to know about how to do it. And it really makes multiple playthroughs of the game renewable because, you know, this time I use these six to beat the Elite Four. The other time I used a different team, etc. So these are great. Like, these are great reasons to play the game. Another pro is the generation concept. Like, the fact that literally every time a new set of games come out, the game gets better. Like, it gets deeper. WoW pet battling has not done that whatsoever. They've literally not added any real content with WoD. It's basically just more. It's the same but more, you know what I mean? Whereas in Pokemon, the PvE doesn't necessarily change, but say the combat mechanics, like, you know, remember when they added the physical split? Like, water always used to be special. Now there's like waterfall and surf, you know what I mean? Special. So that's huge. Like, that's what makes the game good, if you ask me. But the number one, like, no question why the best thing about Pokemon right now is ROM hacking. Without any question, this has put second life into the community. If there was no ROM hacking, like if people never got on the game would be dead. Nobody would play these games whatsoever. And I don't use the word dead often, okay? It would be dead. Nobody would play this game because the vanilla games are so bad in comparison. Maybe if you didn't have something to compare it to, it would be different, but yeah, I mean, the biggest con to the game is the story, honestly. The terrible, childish, thin lack of development, you know what I mean? And with ROM hacking, you can literally do anything. So this is the biggest pro. And, you know, basically emulation in general, like speeding up the game. This is a big deal. You can't do this in WoW. You can't speed up the battle. Long animations in WoW, not in Pokemon. You just speed it up 3x, you know what I mean? And now you're through. So that's my pros list. My cons list is a bit different. Much of its fame, I find, is predicated on nostalgia. I think a lot of people play Pokemon still just because they have nostalgia. You know, I'm not going to talk about WoW in terms of that. There's a lot of reference to that as well in the actual game, but in Pokemon it's even more prevalent because there's so little to do in each game that I think if there was a way that people could like play Generation 1 games only, like if there was literally no other games except Generation 1 games, people would still do it because it's nostalgia, you know what I mean? And because of that, a lot of people look back, it's like, oh, I played this game when I was 12, so it must be a children's game because they're fucking idiots, you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, that's a topic for another story. But basically, another big con that I've been talking about through this whole series is just story and plot development does nothing to rebuke what I just said, you know what I mean? The game is so thin and everybody remembers it being better than it is now. Even if it's not, I mean, the game was even worse. The story was even worse back then. It was at least like a little bit less kiddish, but it was literally like one line of dialogue, you know what I mean? It was terrible. But everybody's gonna say like the original games were way better, and it's just nostalgia. And the new games don't help it whatsoever. They make them worse. The story gets worse every time. It's better written, but it's just so thin. Like the characters are ditzes and stupid and make no sense. And the trainers say the dumbest things too. It's like, oh, look how I'm so much better than you, and then they throw one Rattata out. You know what I mean? It's like we're halfway through the game, you have one Pokemon. It's just stuff like that. It's just stupid. You know what I mean? Because of this, the biggest difference is basically Nintendo's fault. You know what I mean? Like, the biggest pro of the game is its greatest fault. You know what I mean? Like, when you examine the depth the game has, the fact that Nintendo is actually satisfied with making these new games worse. You know what I mean? Like, they're not making the game any better story-wise or putting any effort into it. They're just, you know, innovating the combat, which has been great, but like, it should be that the game gets better every expansion, quote unquote, like every generation in this series, right? But it doesn't. A lot of people believe it gets worse. And if it wasn't for adding new Pokemon and combat mechanics, it would probably be considered like, you know, irrevocably worse, which is a huge, like, that's a bad thing. And honestly, I'd say it's all Nintendo. The company's just fucked, you know what I mean? Whatever. But another big con I have with the combat system in general is just confused and like paralyzed and stuff like that are just, they have no place in a game where it's meant to be about like logical decisions and skill based, you know, perception. It's just RNG that doesn't need to happen. I don't mind missing, but, you know, I hurt myself in confusion. What am I? You know what I mean? Like, how is that? That's not even, I don't want to talk about that. And then things like, you know, I just got this Mewtwo down to 1% and his trainer threw a full restore at him. It's like, you just used 5 PP on 5 earthquakes. I only have 5 left, and now he just full restored. Like, I don't think luck shouldn't play a part. It's just stupid. And out of combat, stuff like that. Anyway, the leveling system. All right, final. I think one of my final cons here. Yeah, this is the final one. Typically a major pro. All right, I would say the leveling system is pretty fun in most cases, but in a few very distinct situations, it's the biggest con. Honestly, the worst part of the game when you turn the corner. You know, you just beat the gym, you just beat Lieutenant Surge, you know, you just got that 3rd badge, you're rocking, you got your Pokemon at level like 25, and you flip the page and they're all level 30s. It's like, you know what I mean? And this happens so much in ROM hacks, like, you know, a Dark Rising type game. It's like, oh yeah, you're flying, and all of a sudden you're just 5 levels lower than everything you're fighting. This happens all the time, and it's the most frustrating. It's the reason I always use rare candies anymore, because you just don't actually level by progressing through the game evenly anymore. And, you know, in general, it's acceptable, but when you played so many different Pokemon games, I just don't look at it as acceptable. And that's that, man. That's all I got. So it looks like all 3 of these videos are the same length. If this one was too long for you, you got to the end here, let me know. In the description, the full transcript, okay? Full transcript of basically everything you need to know of this video, with timestamps as well. I really enjoyed talking about this concept. If you have any questions, though, let me know. Maybe I didn't explain something, you got a further question, just let me know, okay? If I was to leave a final opinion about both these concepts, I'd say that the WoW in general is more preparation and collection based, and because of that, I really enjoy it because I play a lot of WoW. But if I didn't play a lot of WoW, or didn't care about the achievements and my characters, you know, overall fulfillingness, I don't know if that's a word, but anyway, as Arno says, my English is getting worse. But anyway, yeah, if I didn't care about that, it would be useless. Like, it's that boring if there's not like a reason to play. So no, don't ever subscribe to WoW just to do the pet battles, let's put it that way. And Pokemon, it's got its ups and downs. I really prefer the ROM hacks nowadays. The vanilla games are terrible. Honestly, I would not pay for a vanilla game now. They're just fucking terrible. Like, even watching the playthrough that Arno's been doing, it's just like, this is shit. You know what I mean? It's just terrible compared to Dark Rising, compared to like Reborn, even like Insurgents, even like Liquid Crystal. Like, you know, these games just improve on everything that is Pokemon. And the core concept of Pokemon is so good. All they gotta do is make some good story, but they just don't do it. You know what I mean? Nintendo just fail. It's just terrible. It's probably run by a lot of idiots, honestly, like unintelligent human beings, because they're missing out, man. If they just made one like kind of like dark Pokemon game and stop pandering towards children with these like Bianca type characters, it'd probably be the best selling game of all time, honestly. Like, if it was properly promoted. And that's why the ROM hacks are so popular. Millions of people do it. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. And that's it, man. That was fun. So check it out. All right. Hope you guys watch all 3.